On a factory floor in Serbia, the robotic arms of a Stellantis assembly line hang motionless. Workers in orange overalls sit idly on cold concrete. The reason isn't a strike or a technical failure. It's something far more profound. The lifeblood of Europe's electric vehicle revolution, the rare earth magnets that power EV motors, has suddenly run dry. The cause? Beijing. In April 2025, China quietly updated its export control laws, requiring special licenses for 7 key rare earth elements, including neodymium and dysprosium. Without them, no electric vehicle motor can function. And while the rules look neutral on paper, the approval process was anything but. Countries deemed unfriendly to Beijing, namely those that had joined Washington in sanctioning Chinese EVs, found themselves at the back of the line. For Europe, that meant silence on the factory floor. From trade war to industrial paralysis, the irony could not be sharper. Just months earlier, Brussels and Washington had celebrated their united stand against Chinese EVs. The US slapped 100% tariffs on imports, arguing that Beijing's subsidies were distorting global markets. Europe followed with temporary duties that escalated into a 5-year tariff wall. Together, the West tried to lock China out of its largest consumer markets. But that wall quickly crumbled under the weight of dependency. By May 2025, Volkswagen, Renault, BMW, and dozens of Tier 2 suppliers across Europe reported empty inventories. Plants faced shutdowns, not because of lack of customers, but because they couldn't get the raw inputs to keep production moving. Stellantis attempted to bypass restrictions by leveraging Serbia's pro-China ties. It got a small reprieve, but not enough to keep Europe's EV supply chain alive. That's when Brussels panicked. The EU issued a direct ultimatum to Beijing: deliver 100,000 tons of rare earths within 30 days, or risk the collapse of Europe's green transition. But China's response was blunt. Friendly nations like Serbia, the statement read, were unaffected. As for Brussels, they would simply have to wait. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more updates and content. We've got plenty more coming your way. China's quiet power play. This wasn't the first time Beijing flexed its muscle in critical minerals, but it was the first time Europe found itself both the target and the petitioner. The context matters. In 2024 alone, China exported 1.28 million new energy vehicles. Brands like BYD, EO, and XPeng had perfected vertically integrated supply chains, from mines in Africa to refining plants in China to final assembly. They weren't just competing on price, they were leading on quality and scale. By early 2025, China controlled 2/3 of the global EV market. For every 3 electric cars sold worldwide, 2 bore a Chinese badge. Even tariffs couldn't contain them. In April, BYD's sales in Europe surged 169% year-on-year, overtaking Tesla for the first time. Chinese automakers used Hungary, Serbia, and joint ventures with non-EU affiliates as side doors into the European market. Europe, meanwhile, faced the ultimate contradiction. It was punishing Chinese EVs while depending on Chinese materials to build its own. Europe's failed preparations. The crisis revealed how little Europe had prepared. In 2023, Brussels pledged 1.7 billion euros for rare earth investments. Germany and France courted Australian miner Arafura. Romania offered exploratory sites. But mining takes years to develop, and refining takes even longer. And China controls 91% of global rare earth refining capacity. Europe controls virtually none. By 2024, exploratory digs in Romania showed deposits that were shallow, costly, and 3 times more expensive than China's. Even if Europe mined them, refining remained the choke point. The EU's 2025 Critical Raw Materials Act aimed to quintuple domestic output by 2030. But reality was brutal. 99% of rare earth magnets still came from China. Diplomacy under duress. In June, desperation pushed Brussels into quiet diplomacy. The EU ambassador to Beijing requested that Europe be prioritized in the licensing queue. In exchange, the EU hinted at green tech cooperation and even the possibility of tariff reviews. China's answer came July 1st, not through concessions but through pressure. Beijing announced a 5-year extension of anti-dumping duties on EU stainless steel products, ranging from 18% to 103%. Technically, these measures dated back to 2019, but the timing was impeccable. Steel isn't just another commodity, it underpins infrastructure, construction, and defense. Between 2018 and 2021, EU stainless steel exports to China jumped 80%, undercutting Chinese mills and forcing plant closures. Now the tables had turned. Europe, once the exporter, was the one scrambling for imports. Meanwhile, the European Parliament condemned China's restrictions as unjustified and coercive. But in private, lawmakers admitted a harsh reality. 98% of Europe's rare earth magnets and nearly all 17 rare earth elements come from China. As one Oxford Institute analyst put it, China's controls are more powerful than any tariff, the geopolitical stage. At the G7 summit in Canada, EU President Ursula von der Leyen accused Beijing of weaponizing minerals. But beyond rhetoric, Western leaders offered no concrete alternatives. A vague, critical minerals action plan was unveiled, light on details, timelines, or funding. Beijing, meanwhile, sharpened its leverage. It offered green channels for select European firms, but only if they granted full supply chain transparency to Chinese regulators. This wasn't just about exports, it was intelligence gathering. For China, the playbook wasn't new. As far back as 1987, Communist Party official Deng Xiaoping had declared, "The Middle East has oil, China has rare earths." Decades of strategy followed. Beijing invested upstream in African mines, downstream in global refineries, and passed laws restricting the export of refining equipment. In 2023, it added gallium and germanium to its restricted list. By 2025, it extended controls to software and dual-use licenses. Each step was incremental, legal, and cumulative. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more updates and content. We've got plenty more coming your way.